The first cognitive bias that I am going to be talking about today is fear of missing out, or otherwise known as FOMO. I have personally experienced this several times, um, and this often happens if I cannot make an event or if I miss out on a group hangout that was set up due to something else. And this often creates the feeling of missing out on those experiences and those opportunities of creating memories with that specific event or group of people that you might be with. And this can often hinder people because you can miss out on the experiences that you could make outside of those events. And so I personally think that creating new memories and experiences on your own can better benefit you in this, because in that way you can then say that you didn't necessarily miss out, rather you went out and did something on your own or in a new setting that allowed you to grow in that aspect. The second bias that I'm going to be talking about is the actor-observer bias. This has occurred when I have done poorly on something. Sometimes I would blame myself for, failing a test or not doing something that I should have, and having an excuse, honestly, for that. And if I had found out that somebody else did not do well on something or failed, quote unquote, or did poorly on something, it'd be because of a completely different reason, or something along those lines. The third is the survivorship bias, and this I have seen this actually in cases where I have focused on certain things that I have succeeded in, and I have been hyper fixated on doing so well that I was able to succeed in that certain area, depending on what it is. It could be for school or personal things, but looking at my failures as failures and not things that I can look at, work on, and then fix to then succeed in those things as well. And the last thing that I'm going to be talking about, the last bias, is the anchoring bias. And this, for doing research once, I relied too heavily on one source. I did not think to look at other sources to make sure that the thing that I was looking at was completely valid or true, depending on what it was. So I relied on one source too heavily because I had thought that I had enough information that I needed, rather than looking at multiple sources to make sure and weed out things that I might not have found in one specific source, for, in this case, research. And I anchored myself on that one source rather than floating around and trying to find different sources that could help and benefit my research in that case.